For today's story, we are dealing with a person with the common refrain, "Don't you know who I am?" In this case, a correctional officer who told the sergeant that was arresting him, "We're both law enforcement. Come on, man. We're on the same side," after the arrest. Well, the sergeant either didn't see that they were on the same side or didn't think that perhaps that should be reason enough to not arrest somebody. The "don't you know who I am" thing didn't work out well for this corrections officer. Let's read a little bit more. A 23-year-old corrections officer at a Texas jail found himself behind bars last week for allegedly driving drunk and telling the police officer who performed the traffic stop that they were on the same side. Well, at this precise moment, you seem to be in violation of the laws of the great state of Texas. The Lone Star State, my friend. Don't mess with Texas, even if you're a correctional officer. Abraham Viraldi was taken into custody and charged with one count of driving while intoxicated with a blood alcohol level of 0.15, which is double the legal limit. Good work. You know, if you're gonna go strong. A sergeant with the Laredo Police Department at approximately 12:35 on November the 8th spotted the maroon Mazda traveling 75 miles an hour on the 9100 block of McPherson Road, which has a speed limit of 35 miles an hour. Well, geez, that sounds like a problem. Sounds like a little bit of speeding. Going 40 miles over the speed limit. The speed limit isn't even 40. When you're going far to 40 miles over that. This might get the attention of law enforcement. The sergeant reportedly wrote that he made a U-turn, got behind the Mazda, and pulled the vehicle over. There were two people inside the car, and the driver exited the vehicle upon command per affidavit. However, as the driver exited, the sergeant immediately noticed he staggered and appeared to have a lack of coordination. The reckless driving becomes more reckless still. Adding that the driver also appeared to have glossy, watery eyes and slurred speech. After identifying the driver as Villarreal, the sergeant reportedly asked why he was speeding. "What do you mean, bro? The trunk in front of me was much faster," Virali said. Well, it must have been really, really fast indeed, because there was a truck in front of you? A truck going faster than 75 on a 35 road. Also, as I've made many times the point of noting, just because everyone else is speeding doesn't mean that you weren't speeding. Everyone else's speeding is interesting and all, but the question is, were you speeding? Yes, as it turns out, while drunk. How special. The sergeant reportedly told Virali that he had just clocked him going 75 in the 35 zone. In Virginia, this would throw you in jail. Virginia is mean. Okay, Virginia is really, really mean about its speeding. I can't say about the laws anywhere else, but I can tell you that going more than 20 miles over the limit in Virginia is called reckless by speed. It's a first-degree misdemeanor. You're 40 miles over the limit, you're going to jail. Virginia is really, really mean when it comes to speeding. Don't do this in Virginia. Virali reportedly responded once again by saying the truck in front of him was going faster than him. That may or may not be true. Literally no one cares. As the sergeant got closer to Virali, the officer smelled a strong odor of alcoholic beverages emanating from his breath and person. Virali reportedly admitted to the sergeant that he'd been drinking, but reportedly said that he only consumed very little alcohol. Well, if this is very little for you, you know, round of applause to you on your consummate drinking habits. But 0.15 is a fairly notable, especially when you're going 75 and a 35. Okay. Specifically, Virali reportedly drank 2 tequilas while at the main event sports bar and had been on his way to the Blue Moon bar when he was pulled over. Oh joy, he's driving to get to more alcohol. Also, I'm thinking maybe more than two tequilas. I'm thinking maybe it was 2 tequilas, then 2 tequilas, then 2 tequila more. 2 tequilas might be the very last thing he drank. but I don't think it was the only thing he drank. So, yeah. When the sergeant asked whether he had weapons on his person or in his vehicle, the jailer reportedly responded by letting the officer know he worked in law enforcement. At that moment, Verral stated that he didn't have any weapons. However, Verral identified himself as a Webb County jailer, off duty, which, you know, duh, and stated he has his Sam Brown work belt in the vehicle along with accessories, handcuffs, flashlights, etc., according to the affidavit. Based on his red, watery, glossy eyes, slurred speech, and difficulty maintaining balance, the sergeant suspected he was intoxicated. I think this is a pretty good suspicion. The smell of the alcohol coming off of every orifice, and I only had 2 tequilas. Maybe there's some concern about alcohol here. Could be. Verral then failed a field sobriety test, surprising nobody, and was placed under arrest while in the back of the sergeant's car. Verral allegedly brought up his job again. While en route to Laredo Police Department headquarters, the defendant repeatedly told the sergeant, "We're on the same side. We're both law enforcement. Come on, man," according to the affidavit. Upon arrival at the police station, he then blew .17. So the one that was used in the field registered .15. The one at the station registered .17. Because more and more alcohol was coming into his bloodstream from his digestive tract. So, yeah. The Webb County Sheriff issued a statement. "I remind the public that as representatives of this agency and the community, our corrections officers are held to a high standard on or off duty. We will let justice take its course." Well, that's just special. Thus, that brings us to this end of the story of Officer Abraham Verral, who was driving with .17 blood alcohol level, 75 miles an hour on a 35-mile-an-hour road. The police found this questionable and pulled him over for some dialogue. The dialogue revealed that he might have had some alcohol. Further testing indicated the confirmation of alcohol. And he tried the ever-present, we're both law enforcement. Come on, man. But I suppose come on, man doesn't get you too far if you have a .17 blood alcohol level and are driving 75. So it didn't work out so well for him. And that brings us to the end of the story of this tale.